Hey, how's it going, guys? So today I promise you the video I'm making, this is not a clickbait title, but we are going to cover some things that have been kind of weighing on my mind. There is, it's funny because I was planning on making a video like this for about a week now, but I thought the timing would be better now that I've kind of gotten a lot of my free to play stuff out of the way and can kind of start to focus on more aspects of the game that will cover anybody's journey, whether you are free to play, low spend, you spend car notes on this game. And that is a lot of these shard pull events. Now, I was kind of hesitant to make this video because I had seen that a lot of other creators were making videos just like this. And, it's one of those things where you don't necessarily want to be accused of being derivative or hammering down on the things that everybody else is talking about. But I wanted to talk about it anyway, in my way. And maybe if I can add something to the conversation to the whole 3 or 4 people who have been watching my videos, then that's good enough for me. So in today's video, we're going to talk about shard pulls and why I think they are kind of predatory. So as you can see here right now for the next 10 hours, and we've been getting these all the time, so it's not like this video won't be relevant in the future. We have these progressive chances. Now, what these progressive chances are is you go through, you pick your legendary and your epic. So let's say I want Brogni and I want Geo. So now I have to pull, and every pull I do, I get increased chances, right? Times 15, times 20, and times 25, right? Well, that's not quite how the maths, so to speak, on this one. And so what I've done is I've compiled all of the math. I know, everybody's favorite math class, or everybody's favorite class, math. I actually did quite enjoy math growing up and still do enjoy math. So let's just break it down, shall we? So what this is saying is this times 15, times 20, and times 25. What you have here is you have certain bars and breakpoints. And basically what this is saying is every time you pull, if you get a legendary, you're getting 15% base increased chance to get the legendary you want. If you pull a shard, get a legendary, and don't get what you want, it goes from times 15 to times 20. And if you pull another legendary and you don't get what you want, it goes up to times 25. Now this sounds like a lot, but let's break the math down, shall we? So we have the mercy system here. And basically the mercy system is kind of dictating what your odds will be the more unlucky you get. For ancient shards, mercy doesn't kick in until 200 shards. And then for every shard after that 200, your chance of pulling a legendary goes up by 5%. So what does the math look like on that? Well, as you can see here, I've got all the math kind of laid out for you, and I'll even make this a little bit bigger. Well, I guess that doesn't really matter. Let's put it in the center of the screen. So for ancient shards, you have a 0.5% base chance for a legendary. This says for every shard you open, there's a 0.5%, so not even a 1% chance. Mercy kicks in, as we know, at 200 summons. So basically, if you go 200 shards without pulling a legendary, then the mercy system starts increasing the percentage chance that you have to pull a legendary. Because essentially the way it maths out, 0.5% says that every 200 shards, you should pull a legendary. Then if we take that 5%, in order to get a 100% pull chance, and technically it's 100.5 because of the 0.5% base chance that already exists there, you are guaranteed a legendary in this game at 220 pulls. Now, that may or may not seem like a lot of shards to you, but it is quite a few shards, and there's some math later on that kind of shows what that looks like. However, even if you do pull a legendary, which you will be guaranteed at 220, because there are 266 legendary champions that exist in the chance pool, so 200, when you do get that legendary, it could be 1 out of 266 champions. The normal percentage or rate or whatever that you will get the legendary you are looking for is 0.375% chance. 0.3, not even, it's a third of a singular percent. Now, the 15, 20, and 25 times seems like a big number. And in a lot of cases, that might be. But when you're multiplying that by the base chance, what you're seeing is it's a 5.625% chance at 15 times that when you get the legendary out of the 220 pulls, you will get the legendary you were looking for. 5% chance. It maths out a little bit differently because this isn't actually just 375%. It's like 375.9 and a bunch of numbers afterwards. So these chances right here written, these right here are a little bit higher, but they're not even so high that they hit the next percentage breakpoint. So times 15 is a little bit higher than 5.6, but it's not even 5.7 or 5.8. Same thing here. Now, once you've hit the legendary, and if it's unfortunately not your Brogni like I would want, you now go up to 7.5. But you've hit a legendary, so your mercy resets, which means that you'd have to pull another 220 shards to ensure another legendary. And at that point, it's only a 7.5% chance. Finally, once you've hit 2 legendaries and haven't gotten the one that you want, it goes up to 9.375. But once again, because you've hit a legendary, your mercy resets. So basically, once you've hit 660 shards, you now are pulling every single legendary from then on. Once you've hit the 660th and every legendary pull afterwards, you're pulling at 9.375%. Not even 10%. Not even a 1 in 10 chance to get the legendary you want. I've done the math also for sacreds, and the way the sacreds work is it's 100% chance after 62. Primal shards is 100% chance after 175. Now, of course, these are slightly better numbers, but these percentage chance pulls don't change because the pool is roughly about the same. Primals are a little bit different because you can also get mythicals, and then sacred shards are a little bit different because you're not pulling epics, or you're not pulling rares. You're only pulling epics and legendaries. So this seems like quite the buy-in because, again, for all of these, you'd have to multiply these by 3, right? So primal shards, in order to get to the same breakpoint of roughly 9.375%, you'd have to pull about 425 shards to start pulling at that less than 10% rate. Sacreds is about 180. Well, so obviously you're not farming. Maybe if you are super lucky, and of course, if you're super lucky, some of this stuff might not really apply to you, right? I don't know that I've ever even had to pull 200 ancients in order to get a legendary. I also have never really kept track of it because keeping track of it and thinking about it is not really something that these kind of companies want you to do. They'd rather you buy the shards. So what does that look like? Well, If we go into the game and go into the shop, as you can see, plenty of ancient shards to buy here, right? Only real limitation is how much money you make and how many packs that they will allow you to buy. So I've roughly mapped that out as well. If you bought every single ancient shard in the shop, just the packs, because limited special offers come and go and it's kind of hard to math some of those out, you're looking at spending $980 for 155 shards. You're not even getting to the 220 that you would need to guarantee a legendary. This averages out to about $6.30 a shard. So in order to hit the 220, just the first 220, you'd need to roughly spend about $1,300, almost $1,400 to pull for a legendary at 5% chance. Sacred shards are a little bit weirder because there is no actual packs that you can use to buy them. But the two packs that I have here, this Special Progress and this Mega Mix pack, kind of mathing it out, Sacred Shards are averaging about $11, maybe $12. And that number, again, fluctuates depending on what else might be in the pack. For instance, this Special Offer pack, you're getting one shard at $30, whereas you're getting one shard here at $20. But the Special Offer pack is also giving you Ancients and Voids, and so the math gets a little funky. But let's just go with $12 a shard. In order to get to your first pull chance, you would need to spend $723. And again, Sacreds are much harder to come by. Now, this is for my account, and we already know that accounts, they use algorithms to decide on who's going to spend what. So if I started buying more Sacred Shards, I'd probably get offers, and the packs would probably be far more expensive than they are right now. Primal Shards are a weird one, because Primal Shards, as you can see here, we have packs, and we have a single pack, $5 you can buy once per week, and a 4-pack that you can buy 5 times a month. But then, Primal Shards are the only ones against Ancients and Voids where there is no spending limit. You can buy as many of these packs as you want. What that comes out to is $130 for 24 shards, which is roughly about $5.5, 5.4 something. And $50 for the 8 moving forward, which is 6.25. And this last little line here, I used the $8 for 50 because that has no limit. And as we've already said, you're going to need an exorbitant amount of shards to get to that 25% and continue pulling at that 25%. That roughly comes out to about $1,100 for 175 shards. This is, I guess at the end of the day, this is a cost evaluation that everybody has to make on their own. To me, is it worth spending that much money and not being guaranteed that I'm going to get the thing I want eventually? No. No, on my main account, I have spent an amount on this game. It's definitely, for most people, they probably say it's a drop in the bucket. For a lot of other people, it's probably an amount of money they couldn't fathom spending on playing a raid. That is basically what you need to think about before you really jump into this event. Is you are not guaranteed. And even when you pull at the highest amount, the 25 times chance, you're only going to get legendaries at a 10% rate. Now, I understand that this is all offset by luck, because there is people out there who get extremely lucky. On my main account, the very first legendary I ever pulled was Trunda. who is still, even after her nerfs, a pretty dang good arena nuker. So, that could be considered super lucky by somebody. But I've also pulled a lot of legendaries that aren't exactly known for being top tier. I have Norog, Robar, Elagaius. I've pulled some objectively not very good legendaries as well. So luck is something that is hard to speak about because for everybody, they're going to look at it differently, and it is going to be different for everybody. But if you're looking to spend your money and guarantee that your investiture of money is going to bring you something, this isn't it. These times 15, times 20%, or times 20, whatever, that's not it. That's it. That's not it. And it won't be. Now, to not be clickbaity with the title, there is actually something I think is super predatory, and I actually do think should be illegal. If we come down to the limited special offers, we have this pack string. Titus, you hate pack strings? Not inherently, no. As you see here, I buy it for $25. I get 16 ancient shards. We've already talked about the average cost of ancient shards, buying them from the packs in the shop. This is a great deal. On the last one, $15 for 9 shards, 9 ancients, and 9 voids with 400k silver. Yeah, that's a pretty good deal. What I don't like is this right here. 8 ancients, 8 voids, 400k silver. Get previous offer. This right here is something I absolutely despise. I always will. I don't care how much money anybody makes. This right here is predatory and anti-consumer. Flat out. And yes, I do think it should be illegal. There is no universe where I think someone should buy something and not know what it is they are getting. Now, you might think, oh, well, then I think all shards are scams. And to a very light extent, kind of. But the thing is, when you buy the shards, you understand what the shards are. They're just a chance. They're a lottery ticket. They're a buy-in to the gambling. And I'm not 100% against gambling. I mean, I do that. I gamble. I might not go to a casino and play $50, $100, $500 little blinds, but I buy shards. I open shards. I like the rush, the dopamine hit in my brain of wondering what it is I'm going to get. What I don't like is that in this pack string, I can buy the first stage of it, and I have no idea how much I'm going to have to spend on this second stage. I know the first, I know the third. And realistically, this is a super predatory act that leverages human psychology against the consumer. Because once I buy this first stage, I'm way more likely to pay whatever this price could be $100, and I'm far more likely to buy it because of a sunk cost fallacy. Well, I already spent $25 on the first stage of the string, and I know I'm anchored to the idea of it because I know how much I'm going to have to spend on the third. So really, all I've got to do is spend to get through this second stage. Honestly, it's disgusting. And I'm just going to say it. I realize that something I've noticed with like the raid content creator scene or whatever is that a lot of people, I think, feel a certain way, but don't say those things in their videos. And I understand why. I do. They have followings. They're financially tied to their videos. They have relationships with the people over at Plarium that they probably don't want to, put a bad taste on. But I don't. Okay, I've been making videos for a week. and my videos get 3 or 4 views. So I can say whatever I want. And it all comes out in the wash for me. But I'm going to say the thing that I feel like more people should be saying, that this right here, these hack strings that do this should absolutely not exist. And not only should they not exist, but they should flat out be illegal. I do. I actually think that there should be legislation to prevent things like this. I don't think there should be legislation that stops people from spending money in gacha games or makes gacha games illegal I don't believe in any of that. But this right here, this subtle but yet highly deceptive tactic to try and get you to spend money in this game, no, sorry, that's not it. I understand that people have a lot more money, free money to spend on whatever they choose, have a lot more of that than I do, and that's fine. I do not begrudge people. Spend your money on whatever you want, but spend it correctly. Spend it on things where you know what you're buying into, that you know is coming from a place of respect for you as a consumer. I've seen things where people talk about dry January and they're talking about, I'm not going to spend during the month of January to prove a point to Plarium. And I do respect that, because at the end of the day, this is vote with your wallet. If you believe in something, pay for it. I sure have. Again, this account is free to play, but my other account is absolutely not free to play. So I completely understand. However, when people did the dry January, I saw comments on those videos that were people saying, oh, I'm going to spend twice as much now to make up for the fact that you're not spending anything at all. And again, it could be, YouTube trolls. For all I know, it's a 14-year-old who doesn't have any money and is just saying that as an inflammatory comment towards a YouTuber. But if I choose to pretend that it's somewhat plausible for someone to say that, it is baffling to me. Because, so there's a saying that goes, you cut off your nose to spite your face, but I don't think that one really fits. And there's one that my mom used to say a lot that really stuck with me. And it's that some people will allow someone to defecate in their mouth, she didn't use the word defecate, so that other people have to smell it. And that kind of mindset is what that rings out to me. Because what you're doing is you're harming yourself to mildly inconvenience somebody else. Right? You're spending more money to prove a point against me not spending, but yet at the end of the day, you're spending this money towards a company who's going to keep using your money to put stuff like this into the game. And to head off any, if maybe suddenly this video gets a whole bunch of views and I'm to kind of cut in before some of the comments, I don't make this video because I hate Raid or I hate Plarium or that I want to see them fail. I don't. I do not want to see Plarium fail. I don't want to see Raid fail. It's one of those things where growing up, I was very fortunate to have a very good friend group. And that friend group, sometimes when I was moving a certain way in life that they thought was bad for me, they would tell me. They would pull me aside. They'd call me out. They'd say, hey, man, you're acting crazy right now. And to me, I've always kind of thought of it as like, if you really like something or love something, you shouldn't be afraid to criticize it. In fact, it's where a lot of criticism comes from. I love Raid. I really do. That's why I have two accounts. That's why I'm working on 2 accounts. I didn't make this free-to-play account with YouTube in mind. YouTube actually came after Raid, and it's kind of why some of my videos, the timing's a little bit off. Because at the end of the day, I want to see Raid succeed. I love Raid's art style. It's what I keep coming back to. Gacha games are a dime a dozen on the mobile scene, but yet something about Raid's art style. I mean, this right here, you don't get champions like this, or some of my favorite design champions like Harvest Jack, like, oh, where is he? Night Revs. Night Revs in general just has beautiful designs. But Drang, who I have, I love that dark gothic, like high fantasy, but still very gritty art style that you don't get in a lot of places. And a lot of the gacha games, you get, the highly stylized, waifus and stuff like that. And I like anime, but for some reason, it's this that keeps me coming back. I mean, look at this, Siegfried. And then you get his mythical form, and he's this blazing angel with these fiery wings. Stuff like that. The art style, the sheer amount of content that you can do in the game through dungeons, and I don't mind grinding at all. And all of these things, I keep me coming back to Raid, but stuff like this, man, stuff like this just ain't it. It's just, stuff like this just is not it. I'm sorry. And it's unfortunate because I want to see the game progress and succeed and have a certain longevity, but I don't know. So that's it. I hope I didn't bore you too much with the math. I'll be honest, these 15, 20, 25% chance progress pulls, unless your account is so built up to where, there's really only a few key parts that you think you need to round out your team, and you're close to Mercy, and you have a lot of disposable income to try and guarantee. I mean, no, I'm sorry. Pass. And I think everyone should pass. But that's been all for me. Thanks for sticking with me through my ramblings. And tell me how you feel about it. Tell me what you think. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I did the math wrong. Maybe you think my mentality is messed up. I don't know. Just speaking from the heart here, honestly. And so, let me know how I'm doing. Like, comment, subscribe, all that beautiful YouTube stuff. That would really help me out. And I'll see you guys next time.